Welcome back to my prison series. This is episode 68. Today we're going to talk about how cheap jail and prison food is making people sick and it doesn't have to. Okay, so penny pinching on food services, that's what happens when you're incarcerated, people. Okay, let's see what they have to say. Okay. This person's talking about the food at the correctional facility. And they said, I guess they were trying to get everybody to pitch in together. So if there's a bunch of prisoners, everybody put their money together so they could buy pepperoni at the commissary because the food is so yucky. So that was what that guy's plan was. Okay, so let's see what else they say. Food is a sense of relief when you can go to the kitchen and get a good meal, he said. I always try to reduce that for people. That's what they're saying there. That you want to try to make the food tolerable and enjoyable for the people, I guess, who's making it. Okay. So anyway, most states spend less than $3 per day on prison food services. Under Sheriff Joe Arpacho, the jail system in Maricopa County, Arizona, served meals only twice per day, which cost 15 and 40 cents apiece. This focus on thrift means that the meals provide merely enough substance for survival, but prison food can endanger even that basic purpose. Okay, so in 2020, Impact Justice led a national investigation into prison food, finding that 3 out of 4 people surveyed were served spoiled food while incarcerated. This status quo is not just wrong, but unnecessary. Okay? Prisons are food deserts. Okay. I'm trying to hear what they're going to say. Okay, so I'm skimming through this. It seems like they're trying to say they rarely / never get fresh vegetables. And nearly 55% said the same thing regarding fruit. So they're not really getting anything of value. And fresh food is typically low quality. That's what this incarcerated man said. Apples are often rotten. A fresh vegetable usually means a couple of carrots or celery sticks. Matthew echoed this saying that vendors often circumvent nutritional requirements with snack offerings. Fresh produce wasn't put into a meal. Okay, just say fresh, veggies and fruits isn't. Okay, so this person's saying, for those who can afford it, you go to the commissary to supplement your meals. Well, I don't think everybody can do that, So a lot of formerly incarcerated people report having been unable to afford anything, when they go to the commissary. Making food a luxury item in prison, just like soap. You got to purchase stuff like that. Okay, so this is really sad, So they said they found that incarcerated people spent an average of $947 at the commissary per year, significantly exceeding the typical prison job earning for those states. Okay. All right. I guess a prisoner can earn $180 to $660 per year. They don't get paid that much, so that's pretty much what their yearly salary is. And, I guess the bulk of it goes to food because the food they're getting is not up to their standards. So at least you guys know that much, that you will need somebody to send you a can of noodles or something else that you highly enjoy while you're serving. Poor food quality facilitates and exacerbates illness. That's what the health outcome is. A study found that each year spent in prison translated to a 2-year decline in life expectancy. And it's easy to see how, because you're not getting the proper nutrition. Okay, so let's see what else they're having to say. It's very sad, right, people? I'm skimming through this because, yes, some of this is not really necessary for us to know all that. Okay, I'm going to go to another article that basically talks about their food. This person says they received rotten sandwiches. The soup was not fresh. That's what that person was saying. That's how it is. The person showed a sandwich, but the sandwich looks rotten. 2 cups of broth and rotting sandwiches. The realities of mealtime in jails and prison. Okay, so it says, yeah, that you won't be getting anything fresh while you're in prison. That's what they're trying to say. Well, I mean, you can't really do much about it because, you're kind of in a stuck situation while you're there. I'm just skimming through to see, this interesting. They don't really want to talk about it because I'm looking at, the soup looks okay. The broth soup, yeah, this looks okay. You see, I'm skimming through that. The soup actually, I heard they get sour soup at this one prison. The soup is sour. Maybe that's just because they can give you whatever they want, so they. Okay, so some lady was like, she's 17 weeks pregnant and she experiences hunger pains. She requested some snacks or extra portions. Many other incarcerated women told them they were also not getting enough food. One woman said jail staff told her they were getting small portions because they weren't burning calories and getting activity outside of their cells. I like that excuse. That's really funny. I'm trying to see what else they say. But yeah, they're saying a lot of these prisoners have complaints about the food and not receiving enough of it. That's what they keep saying. Okay. Sharing food and breaking bread is a fundamental part of our shared humanity. It's why so many of our most important rituals happen around dinner time. That humanity doesn't go away because someone is incarcerated. That's what they want you to know. And then we have different prisoners showing like different foods that they that they basically eat. This is breakfast and dinner. I guess this prisoner saying they get the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some toast, and that was some grits. Just like this is cheese, fruit, and grits. As you can see. This looks yucky. This is somewhere in Texas. Some type of meal. Looks like some carrots, cornbread. I don't know what that other stuff is, but yeah, I'm just looking at, the food looks gross, obviously. It's really sad, people. Also, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to like the video and don't forget to subscribe and to check out my previous prison episodes. Don't forget to check out the latest episode, the one that says Women's Prison Tootweiler. Don't forget to check out the first episode about prison as a retirement plan. But let's jump back into why is the food in jail always so horrible? The inmates have done bad things in life, but that doesn't make them less human. They should feed inmates the same food that citizens eat in everyday life. That's what they want. They said, okay, why is the food in jail so horrible? It isn't what I call horrible, it's just tasteless and it has a lot of water. That's what this person's saying, like school lunch. It's tasteless because the state serves a heart-healthy diet. It's low in salt and fat, and if an inmate eats everything on their plate, they in fact get the recommended 2,000 calories per day with the recommended amount of vitamins, protein, and minerals. There is no requirement for the meals to be tasty. They said it also has water in a lot of the food items. That is because the way the food is prepared is called cook chill. Almost the meals are prepared in a single large central kitchen, put into cold storage, and then kept until mealtime. The food is then shipped out to the kitchens where it is heated up for serving. The food is put into deep pans. Water is added to the food to allow heat from the steam line to be transferred to the food again, just like school lunches. One more thing, the state serves what is a standardized menu so they can order items in bulk. This allows the food buyers to acquire items nearing expiration. Example would be 10,000 turkey loaves, 50,000 apples. When staff and inmates agree on something, I do think it's worth noting. I agree the food is not particularly good and certainly would not like to have to live off that day in and day out. That's what that person said. This person's answer is food used to taste okay. Some individual items were good, but changes to the menu have made the food rather tasteless. As a culinary officer, I maintain security in a kitchen for a 1,200 bed facility. I saw how the food was prepared later as sergeant, lieutenant, and finally captain. I sampled the meals. Over 28 years, I saw a steady decline in the quality. First of all, it's nutritional food. So it's prepared in bulk. It was never 5 stars, but it could be decent, occasionally good. The food has over time gotten worse. The reasons are it's cheaper in a system like California to have a standardized statewide menu. Food is then purchased in huge quantities, and it saves money. The process called cook chill has taken over. The food is prepared in a central kitchen and then chilled. Okay. Reheated and served. So the food is basically treated like leftovers. That's what they want you to know. Inmates with a lot of time on their hands filed a lawsuit that he was being forced to eat a diet heavy in sugar and fat. That was not heart healthy. Okay. So I'm trying to skim through what they said. Okay. So the food, they said, became more tasteless. The inmate cooks started making money selling spices. I mean, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, what did they expect? And I remember what I had read earlier about them saying they're not giving the pregnant woman as much food as they want because they're not getting any physical activity, like running around and not getting much exercise. So they had to limit their food portions, I guess, so they don't get too fat, I guess. This person said, when I started, we served 3 hot meals a day. The hot lunch has gone away and been replaced by a sack lunch. At best, the lunches are better, I guess, than the hot meals. The food service people do the best they can. Given the situation, they used to have a lot of discretion and good, I don't know what they're trying to say there. I'm skimming through it. Okay, so this person said it depends on how wealthy the state or county you're in is. Usually the inmates cook the food, and if it's a poor county, they might not have much to work with. I have been to counties that had little old ladies that came in and cooked us 3 meals a day. Bless their hearts. If I ever see one of them on the streets, they would get the biggest hug from me. You don't even know the amount I feel for these women. Thank you so much, ladies. At Dauphin County, Kansas. Staff included. You really are making a difference in this world. Not enough thanks to you in this world will ever come close to repay you for everything. Isn't that sweet? Okay, let's see what else the person said about the messed up food. 3 reasons. It's made from the cheapest crap they can get away with feeding people. When I was in prison, the boxes of dry goods came with a big red letter on the side, not fit for human consumption. So the quality just isn't there. On top of this, the kitchen directors and scums in charge of prison ordering often have under the table deals going with representatives from the distributors, but even lesser quality product for less cost. Okay, so one of the games is played in the kitchen is something. Okay, so they play a game in the kitchen, at least in Florida, is to padlock the bathroom doors closed. Inmates are known for relieving themselves in the cooking pots. Some guards do it too for fun. I learned when to skip meals depending on who was in the kitchen that day. That's crazy. Why do American prisons feed prisoners so poorly? Because it's good for you. At least in California, in that case, after an inmate won a lawsuit over being forced to eat a diet high in salt and sugar, the powers that be decided to hire a professional, created a standardized, heart-healthy diet. Okay, I'm skimming through. Okay, so this person is saying like the food reminds them of school food. Okay, so one former inmate answered something about it was his job to sample meals for 28 years. Was the food good before cooking chill in a heart-healthy diet? A few things were actually good. I liked the beans. That's what he said. Okay, so the food was not tasty, but it was not bland either. Okay. He's talking about he's concerned about the cleanliness in the kitchen. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Why do American prisoners feed them so poorly? We're about to get back into that. It said restaurants have to make their food tasty or they'd go out of business. Well, duh, that's true. Okay, so prisoners in jails can have hundreds of thousands of people. That's a lot of mouths to feed. Thus, they have to come up with meals that can be easily and quickly served in large quantities. This takes a lot of things off the table from my experience. The smaller the jail/prison, the better the food. Okay. Staff and inmate workers don't care. First, let's start off with the inmates, who do most of the work in the kitchen and prepare the food. They don't want to be there. The kitchen is generally regarded as one of the worst jobs on the compound. They're paid almost nothing, so why try to make the food good? The thing is, they're often allowed to make their own food while in the kitchen, which means they eat better. If not that, the COs will often look the other way while they sneak food out of the kitchen and into the unit where, by combining it with commissary items, they make it taste good. The staff are often lazy and just want to earn their paycheck and go home. But moreover, they usually don't have to eat that crap. True. They often have in prison what's called officer's mess. That's where the staff eats and the food is always better. So there's no incentive to make the food eaten by the inmates good. They won't have to eat it. True. It's almost like when you work on set, they have the food that's for the extras, and then they have the food that's for the people who are actors. The actors get the better chefs, the better food. If you're an extra, you just have, I guess, regular cooks, and the food isn't as good as those people's food. Okay, so the food is also poor because feeding the bare minimum and low-grade food is simply more cost-effective. If you look at what they mostly serve inmates, it's all about carbs to fill you up. It's cheaper that way. Dietary requirements is a thing. A lot of what's on the commissary are loads with sodium and sugar, but the chow hall food, not so much. They call that the dining facility the chow hall in the military too. Okay, the thing is, a lot of inmates have high blood pressure, diabetes, etc. As a result, prison food doesn't contain a lot of sugar or salt, and therefore is flavorless. I understand that. That makes sense. We're almost finished. We're going to see what else they have to say. What is the typical daily meal plan for an inmate in jail? How does the quality of food in jail compare to outside food? Okay, so let's see what they have to say. Breakfast, the most important meal of the day, starts with a glamorous serving of Arby's eggs paired with toast, which is a nice way of saying bread that's seen better days. Sometimes you're treated to luxury of meat, which I suspect is made by simply pointing the oats toward a kettle from across the room. It's a meal guaranteed to make you reminisce about the days of soggy cereal at home. Oh no. Lunch rolls around with the speed of a snail, representing an ensemble cast of culinary misfits. The main course often features a mystery meat that's been playing hide and seek with a known flavor, accompanied by a side of vegetables that have lost the will to live. And let's not forget the piece of resistance, the dessert, which is usually fruit that's planning its escape. Dinner, oh dinner, the grand finale, where hope and dreams come to die. It's much like lunch, but with the ambition of becoming breakfast the next day. The highlight is often a stew that's been simmering since the dawn of time, with bits of meat floating around like lost souls. The stew is usually thick. You could mortar brick with it. Now, how does this compare to the food on the outside? Imagine if gourmet cuisines and prison food were on a dating app. Gourmet cuisines would swipe left faster than you can say salt and pepper. The quality of jail food makes fast food look like 5-star dining experience. In the outside world, flavors mingle and dance in jail. They sit in the corner and sulk. So there you have it, a day in the culinary life of an inmate. It's an experience that makes you truly appreciate the little things in life like flavor, seasoning, and the joy of not having your dessert plotting its escape. Remember, when it comes to prison cuisine, every meal is an adventure, a bland, uninspired adventure, and an adventure nonetheless. You know what would taste good right now? Okay, so that's how that was for that prisoner. That's sad, right, people? Okay, so the stuff that most citizens eat in their everyday life is crap. McDonald's, processed food, etc. I'm not sure what they serve in jail, and I suspect it depends much on which jail or penitentiary. But let's be realistic. Some people eat crap every day, and others eat gourmet, and many eat somewhere in between. But someone in jail deserves food that meets basic nutritional needs and nothing more. Let's face it. What is more than many people have access to? Okay, so this person said the food is good about as often as it is bad. It also depends on where it's coming from. And how it's prepared, how it's cooked, of course. What it is. Bad prison food is largely a stereotype of prison. The food is usually high in starch, bland, and essential nutrients are in the form of cheaply farmed vegetables, potatoes, beans, all very cheap and easy to mass produce. Many prisons are near hog and chicken farms, for which there is a lot of fresh pork and chicken that is usually quite tasty. Much of the food is fresh and free of preservatives, so it's quite healthy. Prisons often farm as much produce and livestock locally as possible, so as not to negatively impact the local economy and to make the prison self-sufficiency. Prison populations consume a great deal of food every day. Okay. This person said they would cook special meals for the COs with ingredients that the prison had on hand. Same food as, what they make for the inmates, but just better and seasoned. So in turn and out of respect, they would let us make some for ourselves. Got to eat until you were stuffed as one of the perks. Otherwise, if you don't have money on your books and depending on living off the 3 meals they have to serve you, then yes, you're going to be pretty hungry during your stay. The thing is, no matter who you are, there is always some kind of hustle you can come up with to be able to eat like a champ. You just have to keep your eyes open and get in where you fit in. Okay, so I guess the moral of the story there is, if you work in the kitchen, the perk is you will have access to things like seasoning, possibly. You can sneak food, where you want to sneak it, and yeah, you can eat more. You have, I guess, more food privileges, that would be the perk, obviously. So that is pretty cool. This person said, most county jails, but not all, feed better grub than soup lines or homeless shelters, but not all. A homeless buddy of mine did 90 days in the county jail and he gained 25 pounds. I'm not surprised. This person said, always horrible food there. It's crap. Some of the best meals I got were in jail. Beat the heck out of the watery stuff I got in soup lines. And only after a half-crazed preacher screams how we were worthless and heck bound. Of course, if one is used to dining at better restaurants, they have quite a different rating system than a hungry person. I don't know what they mean there, but okay, let's see what they have to say. Even worse than the F-grade meat and horrible slop they feed you is getting one roll of toilet paper a week, I guess, because you need more than one roll. You have to make that last. Okay, so let's see what this person has to say. They have a budget and it's not a large one. Food costs money and it's being given to people who are at the moment contributing absolutely nothing to the economy. They could have better food, but remember, this is where the bad people are keeping them happy, at least. Okay, so inmates stay safe and hope they stay out next. I don't know what that person is saying there. Okay, so this person said, I was sentenced to 2 years in Rikers Island and served 18 months. The food there is terrible, but you learn to cope with it. Breakfast starts at 5 a.m. and is optional. That sounds about right, the 5 a.m. For breakfast, they serve bread, massive amounts of jelly and milk, and sometimes they give you a muffin as well. One thing I found odd was that they don't serve eggs for breakfast, but do serve egg salad for lunch. That's pretty weird, right? You know what? I think they call for chow in the morning, and you could possibly miss it and sleep through it, if you're used to hearing that every single morning. You would just not hear it and sleep through it. And I'm sure the COs don't care if you make it or not to chow. Okay, so lunch and dinner is mandatory. If I remember correctly, lunch is at 12 p.m. and dinner is at 5 p.m. The lunch and dinner menu follows a weekly schedule from what I can recall. Some of the items include beans and sausages, chicken and rice. The most popular dish and only served for lunch on Sundays is egg salad, turkey stew, fish sticks, and pasta. Along with the main dishes, every tray comes with 4 slices of whole wheat bread. I think it's whole wheat and milk. Rikers has skim milk, but you need a dietary notice from the prison clinic to get one. Since food is served by inmates, sometimes, if you are part of a gang or in a certain clique, you will get some extra treats such as extra chicken, breast, or skim milk. For those who don't have a medical card, every inmate gets a green plastic cup upon entry, and that is your cup. You carry it with you every time you go to the mess hall. At the end of the lunch line, there is a gigantic canister which contains water for inmates. By far, the most inmates actually prepare their own food purchased in commissary back in the dormitories. Prison has a way of unlocking your creativity when it comes to preparing food. For example, some inmates will save the chicken from lunch. usually inside their t-shirt, because COs won't allow you to take food back to your dorm. And then mix it in with their ramen noodles with an excessive amount of flavor condiments. I have also witnessed inmates mixing in tuna, egg salad, fish sticks with ramen. Ramen is going to be your best friend in prison. Ramen is used as a base for all types of concoctions. Inmates also get together and prepare food. They trade food with each other, and usually one inmate prepares the food for the whole gang. That's really funny. Okay, since we are not allowed any plates or cutlery inside our dorms, most inmates will cut a 2-liter soda bottle in half and then use those as bowls for their food. How do you cut the soda bottle, if I may ask? You take a piece of string and rub the string back and forth from the middle of the bottle. The friction will cause the soda bottle to start tearing. For cutlery, most inmates just steal the plastic forks and